Hello everyone, welcome back to my video series. In this video, we're gonna talk about what are wrapper classes, okay, and what is their use basically, okay. Okay, so let's get started, okay. So as we know, Java data types can be categorized into two, right? One is primitive, and the other type is non-primitive, correct? So if I take few names of primitive data types, let me start with byte, then I have short, then I have integer, I have, let's say, long, double, float, then I have boolean, and I have char, right? Now as you know, these data types are primitive in nature. It means they aren't objects. Correct. So if I say, let's say byte b1 equals to 10, okay, and if I say b1 dot, okay, so I will not see any method here, right? Because b1 is not an object, it's a primitive data type, right? So what Java did, in fact, because Java is a OOPS language, correct, isn't it? Java is a basically OOPS language, right? So in case of a OOPS language, everything should be treated as an object, isn't it? But if you look at these primitive data types, they aren't object, right? So this was one of the limitation of Java in when Java was having version 1.4 and 1.5, right? So to overcome this limitation, what Java did, they have introduced something called as wrapper classes. Okay, so what are they then? So for each primitive data type, they came up with respective wrapper class. For a byte, you have a byte wrapper class, the B is caps here. For short, they have a wrapper class short. Okay, for int, they have a wrapper class with the name integer. For long, the wrapper class name is long, and so on and so forth basically, right? Fair enough so far. So again, for double you have double, for float you have float, for boolean you have boolean, the capital. Only for integer the difference is it's a whole word. Okay, now, so if somebody asks a question, a very simple question in interview, that what is a difference between int versus integer, or what is the difference between long versus long, right? So what would be the answer? So this is a primitive data type, whereas this is its respective wrapper class, isn't it? Okay, now do some let's do some examples. Okay, so I'm going to create new Java project. Let's say module 6 wrapper classes. Okay, and I'm going to create package 1. Okay, and we're going to learn here something called auto boxing on unboxing basically. Okay, so let's create example 1. Sorry, let me create example 1 here. Okay, I'm gonna create main method here, right? So let's say I have something called as byte b1 equals to 10. So what I did, I've initialized one variable b1 with value 10. Now if I assign this to its respective wrapper class, let's say like this, b2 equals to b1. So if you see, I can very well assign primitive data type to its respective wrapper class, right? And the compiler is accepting it. It is not complaining anything here. So when you convert your primitive data type, primitive variable, to its respective wrapper class, this type of conversion is called as auto boxing, right? So let me give you another example. Let's say I have i1 equals to 100. I want to assign it to integer i2 equals to i1. So again, what I did, I converted this primitive i1 variable, and this i2 is what, guys? It's basically wrapper class variable, right? So conversion of your primitive data type to its respective wrapper class is called as auto boxing basically. Okay, now the reverse scenario is unboxing basically. Okay, for example, I have integer, let's say I3 equals to 200. So this is what, guys, this is a wrapper class, correct? And if I want to assign this to I4 equals to like this, so I'm assigning wrapper class variable to a primitive, to its primitive data type, right? So this type of conversion is called as not conversion, this type of uh, this concept is called as unboxing basically, right? So same goes with boolean, right? So for example, I have boolean, let's say b1 equals to true, and I want to convert that to boolean b2 equals to b1 like this. um, what mistake okay, I have already used b1 above, so I'll make it u1 u2. Okay, and I'll make it u1 like this. Okay, so this is nothing but auto boxing and unboxing concept related to wrapper classes. But then the thing is, why wrapper classes are useful in Selenium? What is their significance basically? Okay, so I'm gonna create package 2. Let's say, okay, where they are useful. Okay, so let me create an example one. In this example, guys, okay, let's say you have some string str, let's say str1, and the string is like this. Okay, and let's say you have another variable, let's say okay, so let's say I'll make it like 100, let's say. Okay, to make it more relevant. Okay, so let's say I have 100 value which is coming from Selenium. Okay, let's say I have purchased something and the cart value is 100 rupees, 100 rupees. Okay, then I have another variable I2, okay, where the value is 100 again. Now I want to do the comparison of these two variables. So how to do the comparison? Because one is in string format and the other is in integer format, right? So of course, if I want to compare these two variables here, I need them to be in the same data type, right? So what we can do, we can convert maybe integer to string here. So how to do that? So it's very simple. So I'm going to say here string dot value of, right? So what I want to convert, I want to convert value of integer, correct? So I'll pick this overloaded method, okay, because I have an integer and I have the value in I1. So this will convert your I1 into string format, and let me say this as string str2. So what I did here, I converted my integer into string here basically using this one, and then I can definitely compare now here str1 equals to str2, correct? And then I can do the comparison like this is one way of doing it. Okay, what is the alternative here? Alternative way, so you can first of all convert this integer basically, okay, into its respective wrapper class. Integer I2 equals to I1. Now this I1 is nothing but it's a object, okay, and what is the class type? It's integer, correct? So now I can simply say I2 dot to string, so it will convert I2 to string, correct? Okay. So what I did here, I converted this I1 into its respective wrapper class first, and then I'm converting this I2 to a string, right? For example, let's say string str3, like this. Okay, and then I can very well compare these ones now. So I'll say now compare str1 dot equals to, sorry, dot str1 dot equals to str3, basically, right? So this is how I've converted my just a second. So if you see, this is how I've converted my integer to its wrapper class, and then I'm firing a toString method. So toString method basically converts your integer value, I2 value, into its string format. Perfect, right? So this is one of the example I've given. So this is for anything. If you want to compare its string, you can either use string dot value of, this is one way, okay, or you can convert it to its respective wrapper class, and then basically you compare it. Okay, now let's take another example. Okay, now let's do the other way around. Okay, for example, I have some variable string str1 equals to 14.99. Okay, and I have double, let's say d1 equals to again, sorry, 14.99. Now I want to do the comparison of these two numbers, right? So here what we will do, we will convert this string into double, and then we would compare. So we would try to do here, try to convert string into to any data type. Okay, so all you have to do is, so if you see I'm to convert string to double, so I would be using double, and then the simple method is value of. Okay, and sorry, just a second. See, double value of string, basically. So I'll take this as an input. So what it does, it takes str1 as an input and it converts that to its respective double, right? And then I can compare the values, basically, right? So I can say if this d2 equal to d1, then say sysout match, correct? And if I execute this now, say I'm getting a match. So what I did here, I converted string into basically its respective data type double. Okay, so convert string to double. Same goes with integer, guys. Okay, if you want to do this for integer, okay, you just have to call integer dot value of. Let's say, for example, I have a boolean value status. Let's say this is my actual status. Okay, and this status is true, let's say, and I have another status, let's say expected status, and let's say true. Okay, but if you see, one status is in boolean, one status is in string. So how do I compare? So let's use the wrapper class boolean, and let's say value of. Okay, value of expected status. So let's convert expected status, which is in string format, into boolean. Okay, so I'm gonna say here now expected status boolean format. Okay, sorry for the big name. Okay, then I can compare. So I'll say if, okay, actual status equal to expected status, then it's a match, like this, else it's like this. Okay, so what I did here, this is the example for converting string to boolean using wrapper class, basically. So this is where wrapper classes will come in picture. Okay, you can convert string to any data type or anything to string basically. Okay, so you can refer anything to string by this way. Okay, this is approach 1 and this is, let's say, approach 2. Okay, all right, so let me quickly summarize what are wrapper classes basically. So wrapper classes are nothing but, so for all primitive data types, Java has introduced its respective wrapper classes basically. Okay, and these wrapper classes, they basically help us in converting one number to let's say string to some other format or other format to a string, and it helps us in doing the comparison basically. All right, so that's it from this module, guys. Thanks for watching this video. Okay, all right, yeah, goodbye.